The vendor standing right next to me. First time I saw it, I looked at it, I was such a doubting Thomas that I just flat out did not believe it. Because as a cleaning expert myself, I know that usually, if it sounds too good to be true, it's not, you know? This replaces scrubbing. This replaces a power washer. It does things a power washer can't even do by simply letting Mother Nature do the cleaning for you. All you do is take Wet and Forget, mix it into a pump sprayer, spray it on anything that turned green, gray, black, or brown during the winter, which by the way is everything on the north side of your home.
Exactly.
And then just walk away. It doesn't happen overnight, but in a day, 2 days, a week, with normal weather, normal humidity, it turns back the clock.
Right.
The stuff is amazing. Welcome back, how are you?
Hey, thanks, Dan.
This
Great
is
to be
Erica
here.
Schweinfurt.
Hello.
She's not only one of my cleaning experts, also one of my dear friends. She has 6 kids. She's done more cleaning than anybody.
That's right.
Which means if you can get out of having to clean something,
Right.
yay.
I'm all for it. I don't have a lot of time. And I will tell you the true story. I used this on my deck last spring while I was making dinner. So I put dinner in the oven, had a couple things going on the stove, filled up my 5-gallon pump sprayer, sprayed down my deck, went back in, stirred the noodles, whatever it was, and that was it. Like, that was all I had to do. It didn't take a whole day Saturday. It didn't take renting a power washer. It didn't take waiting for my husband to do it, you know, on the honey-do list, because he's busy and he has a lot of things that I put on the list. So this does it, and it does it quick and easy.
And it lasts. Now,
it does.
This gallon dilutes to 4.5 gallons.
4.5 gallons. So yeah, it's really easy.
So it's basically, it's almost a full 5-gallon sprayer.
Yep.
I buy it every year now. This is the time of year that I get it. My farm, I have cedar roofing on my old spring house and on one of my barns. And every year it turns green. I can't stop it. So every spring, I used to have to get up there with a pressure washer, and my wife would tell me, you're an idiot. That's her pet name. Pumpkin. No, idiot. So that's the first thing I tried with this, and I was absolutely blown away, because all I did was squirted it on the roof and let it sit, and a couple days later I pulled into my driveway after work, and I went,
it's amazing, right? All of a sudden you look and you think, wow. So what this is for is basically the green stuff and the black stuff.
Everything that builds up on the north
It's moss,
side.
mildew, algae, you know, all mold, all those things. But we like to say the green stuff and the black stuff. So here are your real life before and after.
Look at this. It was sprayed, and then the second photo was taken a little over 2 weeks later, 16 days
and one
later.
application, and that's how it works. You spray it on, it gets rid of the growth
Get it
at
wet.
the molecular level, and then the weather, which is the rain, the wind, the snow, the sleet, whatever time of year you do it, comes behind, and then it cleans the surface and rinses it away. There's a pool surround. Again, this is one application. This isn't coming back and re-power washing because you missed a bunch of spots, and when it dries, you see all those stripes that you missed. It's one spray, wet your surface, and then the weather does the work for you.
I now use it on my cedar roofs. I use it on both decks at the house. That's an old planter, by the way.
And including composite decks. So whether it's wood, composite, which is what we have at home, vinyl, whether it's, you know, swing sets, patio furniture, virtually every outdoor surface.
But what I want you to see is, look at the difference between the before and after. Not only does it work quickly, it lasts. That's 403 days later.
Right.
Now, I don't know, honestly, is the next one my cedar roof?
It's not. It's not yours. It's a similar one, and you can see the difference there.
That's from Mackinac Island in Michigan.
Over a year later, it's still clean.
I submitted photos of my spring house to be used for this product, and didn't have to, because I was so blown away at how it got rid of the algae and the moss. The next one is even more impressive. That's a giant church.
Right, it's the wall of a church.
Yep.
I mean, and that is decades of growth. That didn't just happen, you know, in a wet, rainy spring or summer. That's decades of growth on the side of that church.
One application, for more than a year, it kept it clean.
Exactly.
I have flagstone fencing of walls, and it's dry stack. So when I use a pressure washer, it just blows the dirt out from in between each storm and makes everything unstable. That's 417 days later. The stuff, it's almost a magic trick. I've had neighbors who come up to me and they go, What'd you do? I said, well, it's wet and forget. You just spray it and walk away. Yeah, right. This makes 5 gallons. What I do, this is me, every year, and in fact, I'll probably do it today since you're here.
And it's
this is
a
our
nice
first
day.
appearance in
Yeah.
spring. I buy 2 of the containers so that I've got almost 10 gallons to work with.
Right.
And for me, that's enough to get everything done.
Right.
You will need your own pump sprayer, but you can pick those up virtually
That's it.
at
And
any
most of
hardware
us have
store.
one in the garage.
Yeah.
It's a 1-to-5 ratio. I leave it in my pump sprayer all the time, whatever I don't use. And then, you know, if we have a rainy summer like we did last summer, rainy fall, I can just go out and hit things that I
Yep.
need to. But it's just, it's so simple. And this is virtually any outdoor surface. So your concrete, your pavers, your decking, your siding,
Yep.
your patio furniture, your kids' play sets, and especially things like, you know, we talk about it saving time and effort and not getting a power washer and not having to wait for somebody else to do it, but also for things like you see there, things that you cannot power wash, like a retaining wall, like your pavers that have grout in between them
Yep.
that you don't want to wash away. I was just talking about that with somebody backstage. Just all those things that you don't want to power wash. Again, it's not just to save time and effort, which it's awesome for, it's also to protect what you
Now,
have.
that wall, they did have professionals come in and spray it because they had to put scaffolding up to get to it, but they sprayed the entire side of that church, that brick wall, and a year later it was clean.
Still clean a year later. And that's what it's all about. So it cleans the surface, but because it works at the molecular level, it's gonna stay cleaner longer.
Yep.
So that's why people love it as well. And
It works.
it's used all kinds of places that I can't say that
Right,
are
right,
open
right.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year,
Where?
theme parks,
Where
you know, where they can't close.
Where the only mice there are 6 feet tall and dance and
Yeah, and you
talk to the
can't
kids.
close, right, to power wash it when
That was
people
subtle,
spent
you
money to
figured it
be
out.
there. You know, so they use this at places that, you know, they needed something that works, they need to get the job done.
And they can't use pressure washer.
Right.
Try it.
And this works.
Try it in those areas where a pressure washer doesn't make sense, or if you're somebody who, again, just had a rough winter like we did,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't that we had so much storms with snow, we just had a lot of rain.
A very, very
lot of
wet
wetness.
year, really. And so, again, this is one application. You're going to mix it a 1-to-5 ratio with water, wet and forget to 5 parts water, and then you put it in a pump sprayer, and that's it. You wet your surface, and then the weather does the work for you.
Usually, if it's too easy, it's too good to be true.
Right.
But this is that one case where it really is that good. Here's a good example. Pressure washing around the pool. This was sprayed, and then that's what it looked like 40 days later. It didn't take 40 days to get it to look like that, but it's lasting that long. Here's another example. On a composite deck, it works, but on regular decking, wood, it soaks in and lasts longer. That's 166 days after it was initially treated. And the next photo you're going to see is over 400 days. Your home looks cleaner longer.
Right, because a lot of times, even when we use power washers, which are pricey and can take a lot of time, because we don't get it all, we might miss a spot. The growth comes back, and it comes back quickly. Wet and forget gets it at the molecular level. Then the weather comes and does the work for you.
That was my first application right there.
stays.
Was on cedar roofing because
Which you
always,
wouldn't want to power wash, right?
No, I was afraid to because
Right.
first of all, it was stupidly expensive, and it was an old roof.
Right, right.
So I built up moss and algae on it because it's buried under these trees.
Right.
This is the only thing that I found that worked and did it great. So every year I buy more. That brick wall had built up years of grime. And look at that.
Right.
One application.
And staying clean for over a year later when we went back to take these after pictures. And that's what we want to point out to you too, that it's really going to last. So
Yep.
it's saving time, it's saving effort, it's saving, you know, all that hard work, but it's also saving your property, the things that you don't want to power wash, like retaining walls and pavers and things like that.
This is funny. It's, you know, when robins show up in the front yard and when she shows up with wet and forget, it's like spring.
The birds are chirping. I
We
know.
made
I
it.
had my window cracked open on my drive
you?
here today. I did. I was
I'm
like,
telling you, we're going to
"Spring's
make
coming."
it. Well, Easter
So-
is, you know, 6 weeks away.
Yeah, so
and
you
spring
use
is
this
like 10
now,
days
and
away. Yeah.
your first picnic outside, it's
Fast
going to look
question.
awesome. Yeah.
What's the window of how much time do I need before rain to use it?
Only about 4 to 5 hours. So if you have a dry day, go ahead and use it.
Yep.
Right now, the weather's perfect.
And take before photos and take after, you'll be blown away.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing else like this. Thank
Hey,
you.
thank you, Dan.
Thanks for being a
Great to
part
be
of the show.
here.
I order 2 jugs every single year. Try it. We've got more.